Angelique Rewers, CEO and founder of BoldHaus, and I'm here today with Tara Powers. Tara is a 25-year corporate training professional, Brandon Hall award-winning leadership program developer, and author of Virtual Teams for Dummies and Working from Home for Dummies. Tara's commitment to her clients has always been to serve as a catalyst for extraordinary change and to create cultures where people can do the best work of their lives. And of course, Tara, you do that as CEO and founder of Powers Resource Center. We are also fortunate to have you as our senior faculty of corporate training at BoldHaus.
Love it. We're
going to talk about the amazing opportunity that is the corporate training world. Companies are spending over $364 billion a year around the world developing and training their employees. It is a huge opportunity for small business owners, self-employed experts. A lot of that money goes to business owners who only have between 1 and 10 people in their companies. But putting together training programs for employees is not as simple as just putting some PowerPoint slides together, Tara. What are the 3 most challenging things about building training content for the adult learner?
Yeah, thank you. I think what I have noticed over the 25 years I've been doing this is probably one of the most difficult things is to take training and make it practical versus theoretical. So you don't want to be just a talking head in front of the group. The amount of time it takes to create training content that's effective is significant. And then finally, really understanding how to incorporate instructional design principles for the adult learner.
Got it. It also takes a lot longer for people to build training content than they anticipate. They may promise a company a half-day workshop for a certain price point. They start to build that training content and it ends up taking them an exorbitant amount of time. Can you share some of the specifics with us in terms of what research has found in terms of developing content and the length of time?
Absolutely. So ATD, the Association for Talent Development, basically says it takes sometimes up to 67 hours to create 1 hour of training content. My experience has been somewhere between 28 to 36 hours, but still, that is almost a week's time to create 1 hour of training content.
That's a lot, and if you're not consistently offering that same workshop to organizations and you're always recreating the wheel, that really adds up.
Absolutely.
What are the top 5 biggest mistakes that you would say self-employed experts, consultants, coaches, et cetera, make when building the actual training content for a team?
That's a great question. The one I see probably the most often is they don't do a thorough needs analysis to make sure that the training they're developing is exactly meeting the needs that the client has. The second is not incorporating those adult learning principles. Adults learn differently than we do when we were in high school or college. So we really need to understand how the adult brain works. Not getting alignment with the client on what you're going to deliver, how it meets their goals, the behaviors that you're trying to change, very, very important, and I see that issue a lot. I also noticed that some trainers and consultants are not doing a great job incorporating measurement to show that the training actually made a difference. And if you're not doing that, the client probably isn't going to have you back because they don't know if what you did actually was worth their time and money.
Yeah, that's a huge concern for a lot of organizations. They're spending so much money, but it's not just the amount of money, it's taking people away from their day-to-day job to sit in those trainings. And then if there's not an impact, if there's not a measurable result, then what was the point?
Yeah, they're not going to do it again. Absolutely. And then the last one is, activities are very important as part of training for the adult learner, but a lot of trainers and consultants don't create activities that really align with the learning goals. They actually create activities that they like, and that doesn't necessarily make a difference in the learning environment.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if the employees who are sitting in those training workshops, whether live, virtual, or in person, or otherwise, if they can't go back to their desk the following day and do something different, then they get very frustrated because while they were in the training, their work piled up and they didn't get anything out of it. Really going to hurt your chance to get great case studies or to be able to keep selling more training to that company, right?
Yes.
What are some of the impacts beyond the ones I just mentioned of not building training content the right way?
Well, you've said a lot of them. Number one, the company and the people that attended the training are going to see it as a waste of time, a waste of money. You're not going to see any shift in or change in behaviors or skills back on the job. So we've mentioned a lot of these already, but I think the biggest things is you are not going to get more work from that client. And as we know, keeping a client is one of the most lucrative things you can do. It is the easiest path to income, is to have a happy client that keeps coming back to you over and over again.
Keep sending more referrals to you.
Absolutely.
And often a training workshop will be the gateway into an organization. So if you don't do well with the training, then all of that additional lucrative coaching, consulting, service delivery goes out. Yeah, assessments are a big one, go out the window. What are the three most important components or elements of a transformational training program?
Yeah, I've mentioned some of them, but I would say, again, alignment with the client's goals and, what are they trying to change? Yes. Everything that I build has to change behavior that is in alignment with what they're trying to do in their business, whether that's growth or maybe they're promoting a lot of green employees who have never been managers into a management role, and we need to get them up to speed as quick as possible. So that's number one. Number two is the measurement. Like, was the learning effective? Is it actually making a difference? And number three is incorporating follow-up strategies so we make the training sticky, is what we like to call it, because there's that crazy little forgetting curve where people leave training and maybe remember 10% of what you taught them. So how do we make sure we're building in follow-up strategies so that they remember it, they apply it, they actually do something with it?
Yeah, let's actually talk a little bit about that forgetting curve in study after survey, when you ask decision makers inside of organizations of all sizes, whether you're talking about a 25-person company or a 25,000-person company, the biggest frustration that senior leaders have, HR has, training and development people have, is the forgetting curve. About 70%, people can forget as much as 70% within 2 days of the training. I mean, it goes in literally it goes in one ear and out the other ear. What are a couple of things, if you're a coach or a consultant and you were building some training, what are some of the things that you could incorporate to prevent that forgetting curve? Yeah,
I always encourage everybody to think of any training as a learning journey. So there needs to be things that happen before the training ever takes place. We're priming the brain to learn. So whether that is a video or we're having them watch something or do something or take an assessment or answer some reflection questions before they come to the training, we're priming them to learn. So that's number one. We're already ingraining some of that learning before they ever get there. Number two is, of course, what we do in the training, making sure there's alignment, making sure that we're doing pre and post measurement before and after the training, incorporating activities that make a difference. But then following the training, how are we involving their manager in follow-up? Because if their manager's not asking them, was this important? They probably aren't going to think it's very important and do anything with it. And as a facilitator and trainer, I want to make sure I'm incorporating follow-up strategies after the training is over and drip feeding some of that information that they just learned over time so that it continues to remind them of what they learned.